The Hangout is now live. Hi, this is Vic Shattuck, and we are so excited today. I have a special guest on our Hangout today, and I'll be introducing her in just a second. But first of all, I just wanted to say welcome to everybody to the Hangout that we have every couple of weeks now. We're planning on doing this as a regular feature, a half-hour presentation, and we invite in special guests on occasion. And today is one of those days when we have Tammy Morrison with us. She is a very, very special person in our lives here at Carrot Bars, and we're just going to give the stage over to her in a minute. But you know, today, as we approach September, and we move on through this month, it's key that we're all aware of exactly where we stand and timing-wise. And I think that is emphasized today by Joe Shoup on the Breakfast Club, if you're part of that. It's really key that people have their antennas up and be looking for people that are looking for something other than what they're doing. And don't be afraid to be out there and to be asking questions of people. I know Tammy is great at that, and she's probably going to expound a little bit about how you approach people and talk to them and ask them questions. And so without any further ado, Tammy, you and I were talking just before we came on the air here, and whoops, are you there? Where the Tammy? There she is. Yeah, there you are. Say hello to everybody, Tammy.
Hello, everyone. So glad to be here.
We were talking just before we went on the air, and you were sharing with me a little bit about your son's trip around the world. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how he got started, and you know, I was inspired by, you know, how he's doing this on his own. So share with us a little bit about how that got started and how he's doing.
But, you know, a lot of people see the posts on Facebook and they think, oh, Tammy's financing this trip. You know, Mom's paying for it. But, you know, I have a very ingenious son. He bought a house that was a rundown mansion. I called it the Haunted Mansion for $115,000, renovated it for 5 years and sold it for a very hefty profit. So he's actually financing this trip himself. For those of you that think it might be me, it's not. But we were talking about the first night. It was his birthday. It was March 19th this past year, and you know, we put him on the airplane. He was going to San Francisco, I think it was. And when he got there, he calls me and he's crying, and he's like, "Mom, it's dark, and I can't. There's no place to eat, and I don't know where to go." And I'm like, Josh, you got to get it together. You know, you haven't even left U.S. soil yet, and to watch him grow as he has during this trip, and watching him, you know, just become that man he's become. And he's become so wise. He's learned so much more in the 7 months that he's been gone. He'll be gone a total 8, so he's coming home next month. But he's just grown so wise, and we were actually kind of taking that back to our business. Is, you know, when we start out in this business, we're a little scared. We all are. You know, I was. Anybody that isn't, you know, if you don't have a little bit of fear in you, then, you know, you need to get a little bit of fear. But as we learn and as we grow and as we travel through this journey together, then you get that confidence that you need to really go out there and share this with the world. And I think that, you know, just the people that are willing to do that, to learn and to grow and to share and to be a part of something that's bigger than any of us.
Well, so I'm just reflecting on your son here, because, you know, I think of how ambitious I was at his age, and I'm saying, you know, I did drive a Mini Cooper across country at that age, you know, and that was back 40 years ago or so. So that dates me a little bit, but you know, ambition, and doing something with a plan. But yet, when he got started, the first leg of his trip, he had a little episode where fear overtook him a little bit, and he had to call home, right?
Right.
So I think my point in saying all that was sometimes you have to call home.
Hmm.
You got to get a little encouragement.
Right.
So we have to have those people around us that can encourage us
That's
in
right.
a strong way. So we say, I'm sure you were strong,
Of course.
compassionate, but you weren't going to buy him a ticket and bring him home, were you?
No. You're doing this. You paid for it. You're going. It's kind of like when you get on a roller coaster and you've already snapped the lap belt down. You can't unsnap it. You got to go. And that's kind of what I told him. You got to go. Just get out there. And but I've always told him, if you're out there and you just feel like you have to come home, I'll get you home. But I've never gotten that phone call. I don't think he even wants to come home now. So and that's kind of what I feel about carrot bars is we start out scared and then we grow and we learn and now I don't ever want to go anywhere else. I want to be in this life forever with this family forever. And we all need those people in carrot bars that we can call our family. And that's what we truly are.
Yeah, I know on the Breakfast Club every morning, Mark Stevens is always referring to us as Carrot Bar's family, and
Mm-hmm.
I so appreciate that. Sometimes now I'm more of a technical person than I am a relationship type of person, but that even plays on my heartstrings, a little bit when I hear Mark say, "Oh, good morning, Carrot Bar's family," and I'm like, okay. So and there may be a lot of people out there, Tammy, that really don't feel like they're part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you say to them to say, in a way of an encouragement to embrace what they have here and to draw in and pull on other people that are around them?
Yeah. We've all felt that way at times. Like we're just kind of out there by ourselves, but we're not. Plug into things, plug into the Breakfast Club, plug into these hangouts, connect with the people that are here on Skype, on Facebook, and develop those relationships with each other because, you know, we may all be on different teams and different areas of the business, but together we are one big team. And we can always encourage each other. And everybody's going to have their strengths and everybody's going to have their weaknesses. Your strength is technical. Mine is not. Trust me. Um, mine
You're
is
here, though.
talking to people. I mean, that's what I do. I do Skype three-way calls. I do three-way calls on the phone. I do face-to-face meetings. I've got one tonight. I had one, the other day, and it was just that's what I do is just face-to-face. I'm going to Atlanta, October 3rd and 4th. Me and Big Boomer are going down to do a convention in Atlanta. So, those are the kind of things that I like to do. I'm just a big ham. I like being up on stage and talking and don't give me a microphone because you'll never get it back.
Oh, wow. That's pretty encouraging. October 3rd and 4th in Atlanta.
It's
I have
Atlanta.
a teammate in Atlanta. I hope he's listening. I will make sure that he knows. Is this this is Carabar's convention,
It
right?
is the Reverse Convention. Just send me I'll Skype you the information about it.
Okay, excellent. All right, that's great. Where else are you going to be?
Las Vegas.
All
Everybody's going
right.
to Las Vegas, right?
Yes, planning on it. Haven't
Well,
bought the ticket yet, but I will.
I'm going to be there. My ticket was bought as soon as the minute they announced it. Um, I am also probably going to start be doing some meetings back in Indiana. That's where my brother lives, and they've got a team up there. And there's a lot of people from South Bend that come down for it. A lot of people from Chicago, um, and I've been invited to Aruba and Curacao, so I'm really contemplating those. And Bermuda, Aruba, and Curacao. I'm thinking I can make a vacation out of this.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now wait a minute. You were just on vacation for a month, weren't you? Now wait a minute.
6 weeks.
6 weeks? Okay, sorry.
It was supposed
Didn't
to
mean
be
to cut you short there.
It was supposed to be 3 weeks, and then it just turned into 6. It was just like it was one of those.
Very, very, very nice. Yeah, we have. I see several people. I think from Bermuda and from the islands down there that are involved with carrot bars, or at least trying. And I have spoken to some people in Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I do get this comment back. Well, we really don't, we can't afford to buy gold, because they get the wrong impression,
Hmm.
and so I'm sure that they could use some encouragement on building a business and working with other people. And you're a master, I think, at just approaching people. Um, when I approach people in the checkout line at the grocery store, they look at me funny. Do
Oh,
they
they
ever
look
look
at
at
me
you
funny
funny?
too. They look at me funny too, but it's okay.
Yeah. I think because you are who you are, you can get away with it. I think they look at me and they say, "Who's this old man staring at me? What's he doing?"
I doubt that.
Yeah.
Well, my husband jokes all the time. You would talk to a tree about Caribars. My response has always been the same. If I thought that tree could upload its KYC documents and refer a couple of its tree friends, you're darn right it would. So you just kind of sometimes have to get outside of your comfort level. This is going to be really hard to believe, but I've not always been as outspoken or as like I am now. I used to be very, very shy. And I just had to step outside my comfort zone and start talking to people.
I think that some words are coming into my mind, that yeah, that's great that we can step outside of our comfort zone, but knowing what to say is always the question that pops up. And Joe Shoup teaches us on the Breakfast Club a lot about what we really should be saying to people. But
But
let's just do this. Let's say that we're in the checkout line. I'm standing in front of you, and you want to strike up a conversation with me. How do you begin? What do you say? Hey, handsome.
of course, it's the best way to get someone's attention.
Sure, you got mine.
No, first standing there, I mean, for example, the other day I was sitting there I was standing in the checkout line and there was a lady behind me. And she had like all these cases of water and canned vegetables, and that's all that was in her cart. And I looked at her, I said, "You're a prepper, aren't you?" And she said, "Yes, I am." And I said, she goes, "How'd you know?" I said, "Well, who else would buy 10 cases of water and 50 things of green beans?" And she laughed, and I pulled my prepper card out of my wallet and I showed it to her. She goes, "What is this?" And I said, "Well, it's gold." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, look at this." And she's passing it around to her kids and her husband, and she said, "Well, tell me more about it." Handing somebody a piece of gold is a great way to start a conversation. That way you really don't have to start it.
Nice.
You just hand them the gold and say, "You ever seen one of these?" And or hand them, don't hand them your MasterCard. They might take off with it. But another thing I do is just developing that relationship, and it doesn't all have to be at one time. I see people that I run into all the time around town, and maybe I start the first conversation out with, "I see you here all the time. What's your name?" And then I make sure I write it down because I'm going to forget it. So and find out what they do for a living. And when I ask people, "What do you do for a living?" "Well, I run a backhoe," and I just look them straight in the eye and say, "Do you love it?" You know, never really
There
had
you go.
anybody say, "Yes, I love my job." But I want to know, do you love your job? Because I love my job. And it inevitably comes back to, "Well, what do you do for a living?" And I tell them, "Well, I work for a gold company out of Stuttgart, Germany." And they say, "Do you love your job?" And I say, "Absolutely." And then it always turns into a conversation about what what do I do? And I just tell them that I sell wealth insurance. And they kind of look at me like I'm crazy a little bit, and they say, "Well, what is wealth insurance?" And I said, "Well, you insure your health, and you insure your life, and you insure your car and your home. How are you insuring your wealth?" Well, then I just shut up because they're going to sit there and talk themselves right into carrot bars, because they're going to tell me about all their stocks and bonds and IRAs and 401ks and everything else, and then I just look them straight in the eye again and say, "How's that working out for you?" What if I could show you a legitimate way to save money in gold that everybody can afford? Would you be interested? I don't bring up the business part of it right away. I always bring up we have a free gold savings account. All you do is transfer your money into gold. Once I can get them interested enough to start a savings account, Then I proceed on to the business part of it. How would you like to get your gold for free? Let me show you how.
Very nice. Okay, got my interest.
Good.
Wow,
Want to join again?
I think so. I think I'm signing up again next week in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Uh, but anyways, okay. So just that easy and no pressure and
Yeah, it's easy.
really just, being who you are,
It just
taking
needs to
it
be an
easy.
easy conversation.
Easy.
There's no hard sell. We don't sell anything at Care Bars. We don't sell anything at all. We inform people. We let people know there's a better way to save your money and a better way to make your money. We don't sell it. We just tell it. And
We
that's
don't
the whole
sell
key.
it, we just tell it. Oh, that's good.
I just came up with that like out of the blue,
Right, just like that?
just
Boom.
like that.
Like your Laverne and Shirley thing
Yes.
earlier? Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. Just out of the blue. All right. Well, I think I'd like to just take a little bit of a turn here. I know that we talked before we went on the air about how long you've been in Carrot Bars, but there's probably some people on this hangout that have no idea about, your joining and then the time that it took you to get going. So
Yeah.
why don't you just reflect on that just a little bit for us?
Yeah, it's been a journey. It's not been, it's definitely not been a sprint. I can tell you that much. I remember my sponsor is Sherilyn, and you all know Sherilyn, of course. I actually knew her husband before her because I used to work in the auto financing department for Citigroup, and that's how I met him. And then I met her and just fell in love with her. And I remember getting a call saying, if I were to ask you to save 70, this was 2010. We didn't even know what we were doing. If I were to ask you to save $75 a month in gold, would you? And I'm like, well, sure, because we've always made money working together. But in 2007, I'd actually just walked away from any type of business outside of corporate America that I was in because I was so frustrated. I said, I don't want to sell another lotion, potion, pill, anything that I can go down to Walmart and buy something like it. So I wanted to really get to something that I couldn't go to the store and buy something similar. So no cell phones or energy drinks. I was getting contacted 2 or 3 times a day to come to companies, and it was like, no, 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 no. So finally, when I heard the word gold, my ears perked up a little bit, and I thought, okay, well, maybe we'll go with this. So we started this, with this adventure with an Excel spreadsheet and a prayer. We didn't have a website. We were manually sending out welcome emails to people. We had one conference call every Monday. It was truly ground floor. They were only open in 7 countries at the time, and opening in the U.S. and Canada was a huge deal. So we finally launched in 2011. Well, from 2010 to 2011, imagine how many people we signed up, right? So when we launched in 2011, the unilevel plan was in place. The dual system plan was not in place at the time. And even though there was good money being made, it wasn't enough. I had not built my team correctly. I had given away a lot of personally sponsored people. I thought I was trying to help people, but I ended up, not helping myself, and that's okay. So in 2011, I kind of had to take a step back and say, I need a full-time income, so I'm going to get back to work. And so I did, and didn't want to, but I did what I had to do. And I remember in June of 2013, Cheryl and Ann and I had stayed friends through all of this, and um, I just appreciate her for thinking enough about me to call me. And she called and she said, "You need to come back." And this was June of 2013. And I said, "To where?" I didn't know if she meant, church or a house or where am I supposed to come back to? And she said, "You have to come back to Carrot Bars." And I said, "Honey, I can't." She said, "Why?" And I said, "Well, I have a great job now and I'm making good money. And, we'd been through some really rough financial times. We're finally getting our head above water." And she, any of you that know Cheryl Lynn, she's not going to take no for an answer. So I just kind of gave in. I was like, okay, what do I do? And she told me to get a package. And I did, but I couldn't get the package delivered here because I had promised my husband I would not do anything outside of a job. And so we had the package delivered to her house. A couple weeks later, I went over and picked it up. By that time, I had, earned enough money to, I had been working, like waiting till he went to sleep and getting up and working carrot bars late at night and early in the morning so nobody would know what I was doing. And so I picked the package up. I'd earned enough to go to VIP because I started at Gold. So I went ahead and ordered my VIP package, but I had it sent here, okay, to the house. And he got home earlier than me that day from work, and I came in and he was sitting there with his arms crossed, and he said, "You got something in the mail." And I said, "Well, what is it?" And he goes, "I don't know." I said, "Who's it from?" He said, "It's from Carrot Bars." I said, "Well, let's open it up." And so we opened it up, and I said, "Oh, look, I made VIP. Look what they sent me." Like I didn't pay for it. So he's looking at me with this, "I'm going to kill you." And I said, "Okay, hold on." I said, let me explain." So I explained to him what was going on. Um, I showed him my MasterCard. I showed him, how we were doing this, and I called PFS and let him listen to the balance that was in my account. And he goes, "Is that from Carrot Bars?" And I said, "Yes." And I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Go for it, baby." And so I did. And, I started working 2 and 3 hours in the morning. I would go to work, and I would work as fast as I could so I could get back home and do Carrot Bars because the job I had was pretty flexible. This was probably the middle of July. I never took so many vacation days and sick days from July to October than I have with this because I could not focus on anything but Carrot Bars because I knew this was my best shot and my last shot. It was going to be my last rodeo. If this is going to work or it's not going to work. And I just stayed laser focused and, um, you know, knew that this is what I truly, truly, truly wanted to do. I was getting by on 2 and 3 hours a night sleep because I was still working 50 hours a week in my regular job. Didn't want to, but I was. And I had 2 kids still at home. And it was difficult, but it was worth it, you know. And what's that saying? Is entrepreneurship is living your life for a few years the way other people won't, so you can live like others won't, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing. Is you've got to really truly decide. Is this what I want? You got to make that decision. And once you make that decision, you need to look at your life and you need to cut out all non-income producing activities. And what I mean by that is, I'm not saying take time away from your family, but do you really need to watch, Law and Order? You've seen that episode 20 times. Do you really need to watch it again? I mean, I have not watched a full TV show since July of 2013. Not one. In October, we had our first freedom celebration. My husband said about 2 weeks before that, he said, "Honey, you have to quit." I was at like 11 o'clock at night on my laptop working Carrot Bars. And he said, "You have to quit." And I said, "I'll never quit Carrot Bars." And he goes, "That's not what I was talking about." And I said, "What were we talking about?" He said, "You need to quit Ally," which was my corporate job. And I said, "Well, wait a minute. My skeptical husband is asking me to quit my guaranteed job, and
Nice.
I wanted to full time." And he said, "Absolutely." I said, "Well, let me go to my to the Freedom Celebration. Let me get my confirmation." And I tell you guys, that weekend we started out Thursday night at Cheryl Ann's house for dinner. Friday night meet and greet with everyone. Saturday night the big meeting. Confirmation slapped me in the face about 100 times. So at the end of the evening on Saturday, they called me up to receive my director award, and I stood there and I said, in 2009, I got laid off from Citigroup. I got the pink slip, and I said, Monday morning, corporate America is getting the pink slip for me because I'm leaving. And it was the hardest decision I've ever made. I was scared to death. I had to go turn in my company car. I didn't have a car. It's like I had to get somebody to drive me to a dealership so I could go buy a car. But it was the greatest decision I ever made to do it, but I made the decision to do it. And that's what people need to do. They need to decide, is this what I want to do? Once you make the decision, the rest is easy.
Wow. That's amazing. One of the questions that just popped up was, did you or do you, did you at that time have written goals?
Absolutely. And this is a crazy story. You're gonna love this. We just finished remodeling our house in March. We were talking about that earlier because the first time Victor and I ever talked, I was in my garage because my whole house was under renovation. It was the only place that I could go where I could actually hear somebody on the phone or over Skype or anything. So um, every New Year's Eve, I write down my goals. Okay.
Okay.
I did that until 2010. 2011, 2012, very rough years. I mean, they were very rough financially. We almost lost our home. We were 4 days away from them telling me to leave.
Oh,
And,
wow.
I'm still here. I'm still in the house. It's completely redone. I had to get all that negative energy out of the house. So I did that. But while we were renovating, I was cleaning out some drawers and stuff, and I found this manila envelope, and it was labeled 2010 goals. And that was the year before it got really bad, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
opened it up, and as I was reading it, the first one is, I will be one of the top earners with Care Bars International. Number
Nice.
Number two was, I will have a large team with Carrot Bars International. And it just, everything went on and on about Carrot Bars. And everything that I had written down, I will be financially free this year. I will, all of the things that have happened in my life, it took till 2013 to happen. I had written them down in 2010 and had never opened the envelope. It was completely sealed. But everything on that sheet came true.
Wow. That speaks pretty loudly for just having the thoughts and really just putting them on a piece of paper. And you said you sealed them and put them in an envelope? You put them
I
in an
sealed
envelope
them,
and
and they
sealed it?
were they were actually stuck in the back of a roll top desk. And I pulled them out, and it was like they were still sealed. And I was like, I wonder what, because this is 2014 when I found them. I was like, I wonder what I wrote down in 2010. I was shocked when I pulled it out, and it was like, oh my gosh, look at that! Because the power of the written word is is so powerful. Write it down, claim it, believe it, receive it. And that's the whole thing is so many people have such negative thoughts about what they're doing, how they're doing it. You know, one of my I've several favorite books. I love The Secret. I love the principles behind it. Ask for what you want out of life, believe that you truly um, deserve it, and then prepare yourself to receive it. And and the universe will actually put people in your way. You can't help but be successful. They're going to stick people in your path that you're going to run over, that are going to bring those things into your life that you want. And be specific about what you want. Just don't want to say, I want a bigger house. Go find the house you want, take a picture of it, put it on a vision board. I made a vision board back in 2010, and I've pretty much accomplished everything I put on that vision board. So I'm, you know, I'm not a materialistic person, so mine were pretty, simple things like, I just want to pay off Bank of America, stuff like that. But I want to get, what was it? I wanted new floors in the dining room, and they're taking the pictures of the floors like I wanted, and there they are. I've got them now, so it's just small things like that. But I was very specific in what I wanted, and everyone should have a vision board. Put it up in your office, cut out things you like, go to the internet, type in something you like, print it out, stick it on your vision board, and look at it every single day.
Right. I appreciate all that you've shared with us. Our time is 2:30, and we usually cut this right to a half an hour. You have shared so much with us. You've shared your heart, obviously. You've shared some things about the struggles that people might be facing out there. I mean, you've addressed those so that people can glean from what you've said. Finishing up with a vision board here and getting your goals firmly implanted after you make a decision.
Make the
You
decision.
know, key, making a decision. I've been a vacillator all my life, and I made the decision to focus on carrot bars, and that's what I'm doing. And going forward here, we're writing our goals down. We're getting ambitious. I even went to I forget who taught me this, but he's in your neck of the woods, and Dave Ramsey. Dave
Mhm.
Ramsey, said, add up your debts and get some little numbers and put them on a magnetic strip right in front of you or something so that you see what that number is, and then reduce it every time you make a payment. It just so that you see the momentum building, and you see how quickly, because debt is what keeps a lot of people doing what they're doing.
Right.
We want to
But
eliminate that.
yeah,
That's
we
a
want to
big.
eliminate the debt. That's what we're trying to do, is to help people, and that's what's so great about care bars is we don't hurt anybody. We just help them. We're
Amen.
not asking them to spend money on a product. We're asking them to spend money on an asset. So,
Wealth building, wealth preservation is what we're all about. Tammy, it's been a great pleasure to just spend this half hour with you. We're going to sign off. Our next broadcast will be on a Tuesday in 2 weeks. I think it's the 30th, and we will probably have another special guest or two on at that time. So I'm just going to conclude the broadcast right now. Bear with me for just a moment, okay? And we're going to stop it. You want to say goodbye to everybody?
bye everyone. Thank you for coming.
All right, guys, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot. See you soon.
Yeah, bye.